When Emily first found the apartment, it seemed perfect. Cheap, quiet, with high ceilings and those old, ornate mirrors that made a space feel luxurious. The landlord warned her it had been vacant for years, but she didn't mind. She liked the solitude. Moving in late in the evening, she carried her boxes through the dim hallway, the faint creak of floorboards following her like an echo of a past long forgotten. The first night was uneventful. She unpacked, made a cup of tea, and settled into the living room. That's when she first noticed it, the mirror in the hallway. It was tall, its gold frame chipped and dusty, but it caught the light in an eerie way. She thought she saw movement behind her reflection, but when she turned, the hallway was empty. "I must be tired," she whispered to herself. But the next morning, the unease returned. As she brushed her teeth, her reflection lingered a fraction of a second too long, and for a split moment it smiled at her. Emily froze, staring. Mirrors didn't smile. She blinked, and her reflection mirrored her exactly. She shook her head and left for work, convincing herself it was stress. Days passed and the moments grew stranger. The reflection sometimes blinked late. Once, she swore it raised an eyebrow on its own. She started covering the mirrors at night, draping towels over the frames, yet sleep brought nightmares. Shadowy figures emerging from the glass, whispering her name. One rainy evening, Emily was home alone, curled on the couch with a book. The lights flickered and she heard it, a soft, deliberate tap against glass. Her heart raced. She hadn't hung her keys anywhere near the mirrors. Slowly, she rose and approached the hallway mirror. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice trembling. Her reflection didn't answer. It didn't move at all at first, but then it did something that made Emily's blood run cold. The reflection raised a hand, not in sync with her own. Its eyes glimmered with a strange intelligence. It smiled. Not the polite mirror smile, but a twisted, knowing grin that belonged to no one in the real world. Emily stumbled back. She wanted to scream, but her voice was swallowed by the apartment. The reflection started moving independently, inching closer to the edge of the glass. She tried running, but the door slammed shut as if caught in a storm. Her breath came in ragged gasps. When she turned back, the reflection stopped moving. It simply stared, waiting. That night, Emily didn't sleep. She sat in the corner of her bedroom, eyes fixed on the hallway mirror. Hours passed, and the faint sound of whispering filled the air, soft but unmistakable. It said nothing coherent, only her name over and over, a lullaby twisted into obsession. Days turned into nights with no difference. Emily began noticing something horrifying. The reflection was changing. It looked more like her than she did. Its movements became subtle, mirroring gestures before she made them. It was learning her, studying her. She could see it practicing her expressions, perfecting the tiny quirks that made her unmistakably Emily. Panic consumed her. She tried covering every mirror, but each night she'd find one uncovered. Always a mirror she didn't remember having, reflecting a version of herself that wasn't her. One evening she heard the soft scrape of glass. Her heart jumped. She turned slowly. The living room mirror showed her standing in the doorway, but that wasn't her. The figure in the mirror grinned. Her own eyes stared back at her, but the expression was wrong, cold, calculating. Emily backed away, tripping over a box. The reflection took a step forward. Her breath hitched as the figure in the mirror reached for the glass. She couldn't move, couldn't speak. The reflection pressed its hands against the inside of the frame. Suddenly, the mirror's surface rippled like water. The reflection stepped out. Emily's scream caught in her throat as the figure took her place in the room. It was her, every detail identical but wrong. Wrong in the subtle way that made a nightmare unbearable. Its smile was smug, satisfied, and terrifyingly alive. Emily tried to run, but the apartment had changed. The doors led to empty hallways, endless mirrors, each one containing another version of herself, twisted, smiling, waiting. The reflection spoke, voice identical to hers but sharper, crueler. "You shouldn't have looked so closely," it said. Time fractured. Emily didn't know how long she wandered, how many mirrors she passed. each reflecting not just herself but previous tenants whose lives had ended the same way. Faces twisted in silent screams stared back from every frame. The apartment was alive, feeding on identity, and now she was part of it. Finally, she stood before the original hallway mirror, the one she had first noticed. Exhausted, desperate, she begged, "Please just let me go." The reflection stepped forward again, raising a hand to mirror her own. It didn't hesitate this time. Emily felt herself pulled, her body merging with the glass, cold and unyielding. A scream escaped, muffled and absorbed by the apartment. And then, silence. When someone new moves into the apartment, they see her, or rather her reflection. It smiles politely, waits patiently, watches, learns. And sometimes, late at night, it whispers, "Emily is waiting, just like I waited for her." The mirrors, ornate and golden, are more than decorations. They are gateways, they are hungry, and the apartment never lets go. This story is perfect for a YouTube horror narration because every paragraph builds suspense and tension. It has psychological horror elements. The ending leaves room for sequels or continued fear. In English,